Hi, I'm Whitney Espich, the CEO of the MIT Alumni Association, and I hope you enjoy this digital production created for alumni and friends like you.
Welcome all. Thank you so much for joining for tonight's MIT 10 cooking class with MIT alumna Liberty Vitter. First and foremost, we hope everyone is continuing to stay safe and well. My name is Leanna Lutzi. I'm a class of 2017 and a member of the MIT 10 committee. We're excited to bring this event to you tonight. A few housekeeping items. You'll see that you are in speaker view. To get the most out of Liberty's demo, you'll want to remain in this view for most of the event. But we'd like this session to be interactive and as interactive as possible. So feel free to come off the mic and ask a question about what you're cooking, or just post it in the chat and we'll make sure that Liberty sees you. We'll also save some additional time at the end for questions. Now, it's my pleasure to introduce Liberty Vitter, Course 18 MIT 2010 alum. Liberty is a Le Cordon Bleu Paris trained chef and host of Liberty's Great American Cookbook on UK television. In addition to her skills as a chef, Liberty is a professor of the practice of data science at the Olin Business School. Tonight, Liberty will be sharing a bit of her expertise to help you all create a restaurant-worthy dinner party menu in your own kitchen. Without further delay, Liberty, please take it away.
Thank you, Leona. I'm so excited to do this. I apologize for our lighting situation. We could not figure out how to make the drapes go down. So here we are. First things first, put your bacon on for the zucchini boats. So go to your stovetop, get out a medium skillet. I have one in there. I've already cooked the bacon because I had some sous chefs who are with me who decided to eat most of the bacon. So I had to find some bacon to put on the side. But you want to take your 4 strips of bacon and put it on medium and start cooking them. I also want to introduce my sous chefs. I have Sivan Gamliel here and Lauren McClellan. They were my senior year roommates at MIT, and they will be cooking along with us. So your bacon should be starting to go. You just keep it on medium. And you also want to preheat your oven to 450 degrees. So our 2 steps, put your bacon on and preheat the oven to 450 degrees. And the first thing we're going to start with is our chicken. So our skillet roasted, fabulous chicken. So first things first, you have your skillet. This is mine, at least 12-inch skillet. And we are going to first put our lemons, onion, and garlic in the bottom of this. So Lauren and Sivan, you also have your onions. So knife, how do we do the onion? First you peel it, or here, I'll put it down here so you can see it. First you peel it, and we're going to do it in rounds, just like you would an onion ring. And this is going to be the base of the sauce for our skillet chicken. And it's this great thing because it's already cooked in, so you don't even need to make a separate sauce. Now, trick of the trade, make sure you push out the middle of the onion. Sometimes it's a little bit green. If you cook it, it's really bitter. So you wanna make sure, here, this one's green. You can see it right in the middle. It's just that little piece right in the middle. And if you cook it, it'll make your sauce really bitter. So we wanna make sure that you get out of each one of these rounds, this middle green thing. And we'll talk about a couple of nice knife skills later when we're making our zucchini boats. So you're just gonna sprinkle this in the bottom of your pan, all these rounds. So that's for your 2 onions that you're gonna do. I have a couple of extra that are pre-chopped here. To be totally honest, a lot of this stuff is pre-done. In cooking shows, there would be, have you ever seen like they make a pie and it's supposed to cook for an hour, but it's a half-hour cooking show, and like at the end it magically comes out? It's sort of what we like to call an alternative time reality, where things like magically come out after 15 minutes that are supposed to be baked for an hour. So to be totally honest, I have pre-cooked a chicken and pre-cooked zucchini boats and pre-done a dessert so that at the end, in the off chance that everything doesn't come out perfectly, you already see it done. If it doesn't come out perfectly on time, because I don't want to make you guys stay forever. For our lemons, you have 3 lemons. You're going to slice them in rounds, just like this, about 1/4 of an inch thick. So you're going to slice all 3 of your lemons, and then you're going to sprinkle this in the bottom of the pan as well with your onions. So it's going to be this really thick, it's going to end up being this very thick lemon oniony sauce. And we also have our garlic. We have 3 cloves of garlic. I think someone stole my other knife, probably. So you peel your garlic cloves. Yes, Yvonne stole my knife. You have your garlic cloves, and this one's been peeled. You're gonna slice it in half long ways. And just like the onion, there's gonna be a little piece in there that's green, it's the root. Again, you wanna make sure you take that out. It's this little piece, it'll be one in each of the sides. Again, if you cook it with that in it, that's when your sauce just isn't gonna turn out. It's gonna end up being super bitter. And by the way, guys, if you have any questions as we go along, please just open Zoom, unmute yourself, and please ask the question. And we're just gonna slice these in these little pieces. Can you guys see that? There's light in here that we're trying to figure out. These little slices. And again, you're just gonna sprinkle it into your saute pan. So you have onions, lemon, and all of your garlic pieces. And that is gonna be the base for your sauce. And what really thickens it and makes it that really delicious, thick sauce that goes with your chicken is going to be the white wine that we're gonna put in. So I did have a question. What would you, I have sous chefs laughing over there. I'm not sure what they're doing wrong. Is there something wrong? No, they're good. An aggressive attitude towards the garlic. Okay, Ethan.
Why don't you teach them the trick you taught me about a lemon before? Today we're slicing it, but normally what do you do if you want to get juice out of lemon before you juice it?
Oh, that's a very good trick. See, she's useful every once in a while. So if you really want to get all the good juice out of a lemon, you're gonna roll it with the skin on and push through. Sorry, we have echoes here. You roll the lemon and you push on it before you've cut it at all. And then if you slice it and you juice it, you're gonna get a ton more lemon. It loosens the skin. Okie dokie. So next step, olive oil. So this is gonna be what we're gonna put on the chicken. So we have our olive oil and our 4 spices, okay? We have white pepper right here. We have salt here, thyme, and dried basil. And this is gonna be the base for our chicken. It's by rubbing the chicken skin with this, it's what's gonna get it really nice and crispy. So I have my ½ cup of olive oil, at least I think it's a ½ cup, it was about a ½ cup. Yes, ½ cup of olive oil. I have my 2 teaspoons of white pepper, you can use black, 2 teaspoons of salt, 2 teaspoons of thyme, and 2 teaspoons of basil, and then you just give it a little whiz with a fork. And what I was saying before is Ethan asked, what would you substitute for chicken for climate change conscious eaters? So the key is what we're gonna do is we're gonna put this chicken on top of this and bake it. So you have to do 2 things. If you want to use, I would use tofu personally. You need to have weight on these lemons and these onions in order to have the sauce really come together. It's what pushes down so they don't blow up, and it pushes down the juices. So you need to take aluminum foil and fill it with like beans or rice or something and place it on top of this and then bake it. And then I would fry up the tofu and put it on right at the end. Okay, so we've whizzed up our sauce. And this is what's gonna go on the chicken. So we set that aside. So we have 3 pieces right now. We have the chicken breast, we have our skillet that has onions, lemons, and garlic in it, and we have our olive oil mixture with things here. Yes, I can definitely slow down. You do keep the skin on the lemon, Liana. You keep the skin on the lemon and we can definitely slow down. Okay, so skin on the lemon.
I appreciate that too. Thanks so much, Liberty.
Thanks, sous chef. Skin on the lemon, onions here. And our garlic is sliced in these little pieces. Does the skillet need to be able to go in the oven? Yes, it needs to be an oven-proof skillet. You also have the recipes. I think Alyssa just put it in the chat. But yes, it needs to be able to go in the oven. Good.
How many cloves of garlic?
3. Sous chef forgot how many cloves of garlic. Okay, so we have our 3 pieces, our chicken, our olive oil mixture, and our onions, lemon, and garlic in here. And the most important part is wine. I wasn't kidding when I said that I don't believe in appetizers and you just give people alcohol should you like to drink. It makes people hungry and everything tastes better. You can have like the most delicious meal in the world, and if you're not hungry, then it's not gonna taste very good. And you can also be starving and eat something really bad and it tastes really good. So trick, even if alcohol helps, if you don't do alcohol, just don't serve appetizers and wait like an hour before you feed people and everything's gonna taste better. Okay. I think next step, we're ready. So here's my chicken. Usually I would do this in the sink, and I would suggest that you guys do it in the sink. Then you don't muck up your cutting board. It's easier. It's kind of gross. You have to like dig in there. So I would suggest that you do this in the sink. I'm not doing that because we didn't have enough cameras. But here's your chicken, and we're going to spatchcock it. Spatchcocking a chicken you do for a couple reasons. One, it cooks faster, and two, it lays out totally flat. And what that means is that you get all of the skin really crispy. If you've ever roasted a whole chicken, a lot of times the sides don't get really that crispy. This way, the whole chicken skin is super duper duper crispy. So how do you spatchcock a chicken? You have this entire chicken here, and you need to flip it over so it's breast side down. If you're having trouble figuring that out, you should have the wings be facing up like this. The drumsticks are down. So it's neck side up. Are you guys ready? My sous chefs will be spatchcocking along with me.
Liberty, we have a question.
Okay.
Can you make a substitute?
Yeah. Oh yeah, there. Is it okay if we just have a couple of chicken breasts? That's perfect. You just put them on top. So you make the same sauce, do everything the exact same, and you're just gonna put that on top of the skillet instead of the entire chicken. Okay, sous chefs, time to spatchcock.
What direction?
Okay, I'll repeat because they weren't paying attention to me. So the wing should be facing you and the breast side down. Flip it. No, right there. Yeah, there you go. Sivan's got it. Lauren, do you have it? Yeah. Okay, you're good. Now, I like to use scissors. You can use a knife, but I find scissors to be the easiest. So you have the wings facing you like this. The drumsticks are here.
Okay. If question from the sous chef, if scissors are easier, why did we get knives, given the fact we're not trained chefs, to embarrass us on live television?
We only have one person.
Okay, fine. Viewers at home, don't judge us. I'm going back on mute.
Okay, we only had one pair of scissors. Okay, so the whole idea of spatchcocking is you're gonna remove these bones and then it can all go flat. So you're gonna take your scissors or your knife. Okay, there should be scissors somewhere. Okay, you'll figure it out. Okay, you're gonna go to the side. A lot of these have necks. The other way to feel it is from the other side where the tail is. And you wanna go about 1 inch to the right of the middle or to the left of the middle. You can start on either side. And you are literally gonna just cut through on one side. As you can see, yeah, just on the side. Right there. So now I've done one side of this. You can see what happens when I open it up. And now I'm going to do the other side. So there should be about 1.5 inches in the middle that we're going to remove. Don't cut yourselves, guys. We're going to start on this side. So now I'm on the other side. And this is the 1.5 inches that I'm going to remove from the middle. And that is what we are removing, this bone.
Okay, can I just say something?
Tip for whoever doesn't have scissors, if you need to turn around the chicken to get a better cut, you can do that once you start from the wing side up.
Thank you, sous chef. Okay, this we remove. We're done with it. I'm going to remove it. Should you wish to save it if you're going to make a stock out of this? So a lot of times what I do is once I've eaten once you've eaten your whole chicken breast, I have sous chefs making lots of noise up there. Once you've eaten your chicken breast, you're going to take the carcass and you just cover it in water with a stock, and then you're all set to make like a really delicious chicken broth. So you could save that to the side if your plan is to make a stock. So now that we've removed this inside, make sure if there's any stuff in your chicken, you get rid of it. Or your sous chef is showing you. Okay, we're going to flip it over. Now, this is the part where you're going to flatten it. You're also breaking the wishbone. So you're going to push down on your chicken and it's going to break the breastbone. And so that should flatten out your chicken completely. The other way to do it is to pull this direction. So I'm by the wings and I'm going to pull backwards and break the bone. So it's now totally flat. So if you guys look now, this chicken is totally flat. Good? Try to break it from here. So the sous chef is having trouble with this. Put your hands, I don't know if she can see. Put your hands there. Did you break it? There you go. You can actually hear it. So you put your hands here and you just push back and break it. So your chicken should be totally flat. Success. I hear some success. Okay, now you pick up your chicken and you put it flat in your skillet. I'm gonna remove that. And don't wash your hands yet because you still have chicken stuff to do. I'm moving this way. Okay. Now you're gonna need some paper towels. The whole point of spatchcocking a chicken is to get that really crispy skin, okay? That's the whole point here. So you need to dry it first. If you have water on your chicken and you then put olive oil on it, you're gonna end up with this really mushy crust. So I take paper towels and pat it as dry as possible. And this is what's gonna make that really brown, delicious, crispy skin. And as you can see, unlike a normal roast chicken, this is now totally spread out and all of the skin is exposed to the heat. So you're gonna end up with that really gorgeous brown chicken. Now, one of the reasons I love this recipe, and it's one of my favorites, is because I serve it on the table just in this. Your sauce is gonna cook and your chicken is gonna look gorgeous and you can just serve it on the table in the skillet. Good. So once you are totally pat dry, again, don't yet wash your hands because you're gonna have to rub the olive oil on the chicken.
Hi, Liberty, we have a quick question.
I'm ready.
What is in the olive oil?
So the olive oil has your 4 spices in it. It's white pepper, salt, thyme, and basil, 2 teaspoons of each. White pepper, salt, basil, and thyme. But you can use whatever spices you like. So if you prefer fennel or you prefer oregano or cilantro or whatever you want, thyme and basil are sort of a staple, but please feel free to use anything you'd like. Okay, so now that my chicken is super duper dry, I'm gonna move it here because the light is sort of coming. Sorry, we like tested the light, but it keeps changing on us. Okay, so here is my olive oil with my 4 spices in it. And I am just gonna pour it over my chicken. Make sure you coat all parts of it. And if you have just those chicken breasts, you just do this exactly the same. Okay, now you rub it all around to make sure everything is absolutely coated. And if you wanna go sort of for gold, you're gonna right here, so away from the drumsticks are here, away from here. The skin is gonna be sort of attached to the breast. And if you go under and sort of try to separate without puncturing the skin, if you try to separate the skin from the chicken breast, let me see if I can get this to look, if you can see that. You separate it with your fingers and you get that olive oil mixture between the skin and the breast. And that'll help crisp up this skin even more. If you can see that. Let me get something to try to block this light. Hey, Sivan, could you get something to put here to try to block this light? Thanks. Like a box or something? I don't know, you can find it. She's physically blocking the light. See, this is what's great about having sous chefs is she's physically blocking the light. She's not even finding something to do it. You can stand right there. I feel like that's a good break. Okay, now wash your hands. So your chicken's ready. We're literally gonna just put this in the oven, but wash your hands first. And I apologize for the noise, but I can't mute it while I'm washing my hands. Okay. So now my sous chefs are gonna start helping me instead of doing their own. So I'm just putting this chicken in the oven. It should be at 450 degrees. And we're gonna stick it in there for 30 minutes. Sous chef, Lauren, could you please time 30 minutes? Great, okay. Now it is time for zucchini boats. So the idea is that the chicken's in the oven for 45 minutes, and then we're gonna do our zucchini boats that are gonna be in the oven in 20 minutes, meaning we have about 20 minutes to make our zucchini boats, to stick them in the oven and have everything come out at the same time. So sous chef is gonna help me with our zucchini boats. So we talked about our zucchini boats that the organic kind tend to be smaller. So it's better to get ones that are a little bit bigger. I've already cut off the ends. You wanna take as little off the ends as possible because you want it to be a boat. So you just slice off literally just as little as you possibly can. And then you are gonna slice your zucchini long ways. So you have 2 pieces, and these are gonna become your boats. You're going to hollow out the inside of this, and then they will become your boats. So sous chef, could you please hollow out the boats? The other sous chef is actually just standing there to block the light. Okay, so you're just gonna hollow out the boats. You can just use a normal spoon, hold it in your hand like Lauren's doing to make sure that it doesn't break. So you hold it behind to steady it, and then you're gonna scoop out the inside. This is the best way to sneak vegetables into someone's diet is in zucchini boats, because there are so many veggies in it, but it tastes delicious because there is bacon and cheese. However, if you want to substitute, skip the bacon, you can use turkey sausage, or you can just skip it all together and just have vegetables. We actually made these last night. Sivan had just vegetables, Lauren had bacon, turkey sausage, so whatever you want. And now we're gonna start chopping our vegetables for this. And by the way, the amount you hollow it out, I don't know if you can see that. There you go. You see that, it's quite a lot. You really want it to be pretty thin. The crust then becomes this zucchini boat. So now we're gonna make our filling for the zucchini boat. And that's everything else in your recipe except the zucchini boats themselves, except for the actual zucchini. So let's start with our onion. And by the way, don't forget about your bacon that is on the skillet over there.
Liberty, since I'm over here, what can you do with the insides of the zucchini that you're hollowing?
You could, if you wanted to save the inside of the zucchini that you're hollowing, what I would suggest is adding it to your chicken stock. If you wanted to sort of make something that was like this delicious soup, you could add the insides of the zucchini to the chicken stock that you're gonna make when you take the carcass of the chicken once you're all finished with it. So onion slicing time. We're gonna do a little bit of a knife skill. So you have your onion here, and that onion should be, have no brown stuff. What do you call it? The brown stuff.
Caramelized?
No, not caramelized. That's once you cook it. I'm blanking. The peel. It should be peeled. Okay. So here's what you do to chop an onion. There is one side of the onion that has a root, and the other side looks just like a normal onion with circles. You want to start from the root on the top. Root and half of it. So we're just going to half of it, and it looks like that. The root should be on the top.
We've got a quick question. Sorry to interrupt
we
you.
don't
We got
have
a quick
zucchini.
question.
Can you just make the insides? Absolutely. So skip the zucchini, make the insides, and put it in like a little dish or something to cook it. So we'll just make the inside and then put it into a little dish, and you can cook all the insides. It's actually delicious. I do that sometimes. So you have the root facing away from you, and you have the regular part of the onion facing towards you. What you're gonna do is slice, but not actually slice all the way through here. You're gonna stop about 1/4 of an inch before the end. So we're gonna slice, maybe like, we're gonna dice it. So we're gonna do maybe like 6 slices. And again, you're not going all the way through to the root. So it's actually, if you look here, I'm splaying it out, it's held together at this end because I haven't cut all the way through it. Okay, now you're gonna spin it 90 degrees. So the root is now on my left, and the slices are on my right. You're gonna hold the top of it. This is where you have to be careful not to cut yourself. And you're gonna make 2 slices. Again, see, my knife is not going all the way through. This root is still intact here. You're gonna make slices 1, and you're gonna make slice 2. And again, you can see my knife is stopping before it gets to the absolute end here. Okay, and then you pull it out. So this root is still attached. I'm gonna leave it here, put my fingers so I don't chop them off. And now I'm gonna slice this direction. And as you can see, it creates all these perfectly sized pieces instead of having to chop your onion all the way. And then this little piece, which is the root that you kept together, you just discard. And that's the easiest way to chop your onion so that it's in all a bunch of little pieces instead of chopping all together. So I'll do this one again. Root facing away from me. I'm gonna make about 6 slices. Again, not going all the way through. I'm gonna make 2 slices here. Again, my knife doesn't go all the way through. Beautiful zucchini boats, Lauren. And then I'm gonna just slice and dice like this, making all these perfect little pieces. Good. Now there's one tool that we do not have in this kitchen, which is a scraper. It's about a little plastic thing about this big. It lets you pick up all these things and then put it in there. It's the greatest kitchen tool in existence. So put your onions to the side. You can also just put it to the side of your cutting board. Zucchini boats are finished. Thank you very much. And now, Lauren, do you want to grab a knife and you can cut peppers right along with me? Okay, so now we have 1 green pepper, 1 yellow pepper, and 1 jalapeno. Before we cut that, I want you to put your onions, your bacon should be done by now. Set your bacon aside, and I want you to put your onions in your stovetop. So your stovetop, we're coming to the stovetop. Your stovetop should be on medium heat, medium to high heat. What I like to do is leave the bacon fat in the stovetop. So I'm actually cooking the onions in the stovetop. And then I'm gonna let it get a little bit hot, and I'm gonna cook the onions in it while we're slicing the peppers. So here my onions go. They're in that bacon fat. You can also use olive oil if you don't have any bacon fat, and they're gonna start to cook. So now I'm gonna come back here and I'm gonna cut up my peppers. So here's what I've done. You wanna slice the pepper along here, like so. Again, alternative reality of time, it's not quite done. So this is what you're gonna throw away of the pepper. You just slice it all the way around the top. Again, something that's gonna ruin your sauce is the white part that's in the pepper. So you wanna slice that little piece off. There's gonna be, on some of your pepper slices, there'll be this little white part. That's gonna make it taste super acidic, like really acidic. So you wanna make sure to get rid of that. So we're gonna dice our green peppers. Lauren over here is dicing. Oh,
I'm getting creative.
She's getting very creative with her cutting skills. I'm not really sure what she's doing. So we're dicing peppers. So cut them like this, like I've done in these little batons. I don't know what she's doing.
She's not a human, she has.
Simon said at least she's not a human. She has on the side. Okay, so again, we're gonna dice these. So I put all the batons in a row, and then you just move along the batons, making a nice little dice and trying not to cut off your finger at the same time. I had one question, Mark, what is the most effective way to ask friends and guests for feedback to improve one's cooking? I always say, I make people tell me the truth. And unfortunately, I have people who tell me a little bit too much of the truth, especially right here. But the key is to say that you're really trying to improve a recipe. And so you want their honest feedback. I always frame it as I'm trying to improve a recipe. And then they tend to tell me, oh, it could use more salt, or oh, it could use more stuff, or oh, it could use less of this. I like it cooked more. It's about when I tell them I'm improving the recipe, not improving my cooking. Because if you say I'm improving my cooking, people tend to not want to tell you. So we have our green pepper, our yellow, I'm gonna bring it closer here. Green pepper, yellow pepper, and now we're cutting the jalapeno. The sous chef over here is finishing up cutting. Jalapenos, you cut them in the exact same way as peppers. You slice off the sides, and it lets you throw it all away, lets you throw away the seeds in one sort of whole thing. If you like it really hot, you can include some seeds. I don't usually. Again, you just cut it in batons. Please don't watch Lauren. Like this. It's gonna look just like your green pepper in batons. Put them together and slice away. So I can hear my onions sizzling. You should be able to hear your onions sizzling at this point.
I'm gonna make everyone feel better.
Lauren says she's here to make everybody at home feel better, which is, everyone should feel better at this point after watching that. So we have our yellow pepper here. So take your time chopping. Make sure you don't cut your finger off like I did. It's fine, it's here, you can see that. And you're gonna add your peppers as soon as you're done to your onions. So I'm gonna go add them on the stovetop right over here. So you can see they're just like starting to get a little bit brown. They're starting to sizzle. That's what we want. You can start to see that. And I'm gonna add in, so this is my yellow pepper, my green pepper, and my jalapeno. And just take your time chopping. You can already see the colors really start to pick up here. Now the order matters, and here's why. Onions take longer to cook than peppers. Peppers take longer to cook than tomatoes. So we're gonna come back to our cutting board, and we are gonna chop our tomatoes. And here's how, you know what, actually, let me see if there's a tomato in here. Is there a tomato? Yeah, I'll start from the beginning with the tomato. Okay, here's our tomato down here. Make sure you take the sticker off. Thank you, Lauren. Many times I have cooked stickers. Okay. So you have your tomato. So your peppers and onions are there. That's the beginning of your stuffing. And we're gonna now cut our tomatoes into quarters. So Chef, you can have 2. Okay, wait, just follow along. Okay. Tomatoes. Here's the trick. What most people do is they are gonna dice this whole thing. Everything inside, the insides of the tomatoes are tasteless and watery. It's what makes your vegetables sort of steam instead of sear like they are doing, is because people cook the entire tomato. Again, you want to remove the insides. I slide my knife between the skin and the insides. You can see there's a little bit of seeds here. You put them to the side, and this is going to be removed. Again, if you're making that stock, you could add that in with the zucchini. It'd be a delicious stock. And you do that again with this other quarter. I do this with everything. So everything I'm cooking with tomatoes, I remove this inside. It totally changes the flavor of everything you're doing, because the real flavor in the tomatoes comes from the skin, and things won't be just watery gush and steam your vegetables. Okay, so again, you're gonna put these into batons, just like your green peppers. Batons.
Got it.
Lauren's got it this time. My knives aren't super sharp, I apologize. So again, you're just gonna dice it just like you did anything else. And that is the end of our vegetables for the stuffing. We still have more stuff to put in the stuffing. You have, if you're looking at your ingredients list, the eggs, salt, white pepper, Cajun seasoning, breadcrumbs, and cheese are all still to go with your stuffing. So I'm going to get my tomatoes here, and we're going to move over to the stovetop while Lauren finishes cutting her tomatoes. Okay, we're at the stovetop. Our peppers are looking great. Our onions are looking great. The way you know they're sort of ready is when they're a little bit translucent. You can sort of start to see the color change. But we are going to also put our zucchini boats in the oven. So we don't want to cook the vegetables too much, because they're going to cook for 20 minutes in the oven. So here I've added my tomatoes. Tomatoes cook really quick and they get mushy. So you want to make sure that you work a little bit speedily once you put your tomatoes in. So I'm going to turn down the heat a little bit, because we are going to add our eggs, which you do not want to, you don't want to scramble them too much. They're going to get a little bit cooked, but you don't want to overly scramble them. So here I have my egg and 2 egg yolks. I have white pepper, Cajun seasoning, and salt. I have breadcrumbs, and I have a much smaller pile of bacon than I began with, as I feel like some people who are around here, who shall remain nameless, have been picking at the bacon as I was cooking it earlier. So
there's a question about white pepper versus black pepper in the chat.
Okay, great. Sorry, I can't see the chat because I'm at the stovetop, so just yell out any questions. White pepper has a little bit of a kick to it. Most people tend to use white pepper when they're using white food. So for example, if you're making mashed potatoes and you want to put pepper in it, chefs tend to not use black pepper, because then it looks like there's dirt running through your white mashed potatoes. So that was sort of the origin of using white pepper versus black pepper. But white pepper has almost like a spicy kick to it. It's a 1-to-1 exchange with black pepper. So if you have 2 teaspoons of white pepper, you want to use 2 teaspoons of black pepper. But it has a lot more of a kick to it. I really prefer it to black pepper, so I use it in a ton of my recipes. So I'm going to put my spices in there, the white pepper, Cajun seasoning, and salt. If you don't like anything spicy, then skip the Cajun seasoning or skip the white pepper, whichever you prefer. I really like things when they're really spicy, so I'm going to add a little bit more of Cajun seasoning. This, I don't know if you can see this. This is my favorite. It is by far the best Cajun seasoning I've ever used. I use it on fish, I use it on chicken, I use it on all my vegetables. It's absolutely delicious. My sous chefs are laughing over there. So here we go. We have all of our spices put in. And now we're gonna add our eggs. So it's an egg and 2 egg yolks. I had a really good question, and I can't remember who it is, my notes are over there, but I had a really good question. Actually, can one of you guys see who asked it? If you look at it's about egg substitute. It might be on the vanilla sauce thing. No, it's on the, here, Stephen, will you stir that? Alicia, can you save the leftover egg whites, and what do you suggest making with them? So yes, you absolutely can save the leftover egg whites. You'll have 2 egg whites from this, and then you're gonna have 2 egg whites from your vanilla sauce. You have 2 options. You can either save it till the next day and make a really nice egg white omelet, or you could use equal parts egg whites and sugar, whip it up. It'll be like a foam, and you stick it in the oven for 10 minutes at 350, and you're gonna have some absolutely gorgeous meringues. So as you can see, we've added our eggs. I turned the heat way down, so it's not really cooking, but it can be scrambled a little bit. So don't freak out if you've added your eggs and it's starting to scramble a little bit. That's absolutely delicious, so don't worry. And now you're gonna add your panko. You're gonna add your panko crumbs. I have my sous chefs talking over here. You're gonna add your panko breadcrumbs, and that's gonna make it really sort of thicken as a base, which is perfect. So there are your panko breadcrumbs. And then finally, I just break it with my hands. This I've already broken with my hands, although there's a lot less of it. You just break with your hands your bacon and add it right into your zucchini. This is the end of our stuffing. The cheese we're gonna sprinkle on top, but this is the stuffing for your zucchini boats. So if you don't have zucchini and you're just using the stuffing, put it into little ramekins or into some sort of serving dish. And you just sprinkle the cheese on top of that. Great, so now we're gonna come back over, and my sous chefs are going to fill the zucchini boat. They're also helping me clean up. So one of them is standing there to block light. So Lauren is gonna start filling the zucchini boats. Here are your spoons. I tend to use spoons to do it. And we're gonna just start to clear this off. So these zucchini boats are gonna cook for 20 minutes in the same oven as your chicken. Let me move all this. I like to clean up as I go, however you do it. I just like to drink as I go, whatever your personal preference is. I'm gonna move this cutting board, take a second to catch up or clean up, whichever you prefer to do. So we're in this really good position, right? Our chicken is still cooking in the oven. Oh, Liberty's Cajun seasoning recommendation. Thanks, Melissa. That was really impressive to find. So our chicken is in the oven cooking away. We're just about to put our zucchini boats in the oven. We're gonna sprinkle some cheese on top that Lauren's doing. And now we're gonna make our dessert really quickly while everything is cooking. So on to our vanilla custard. I had William asked a great question. He said, what is the secret to custards? There's a bunch of secrets. So we're gonna start with the first one. So here you have your 1 egg and your 2 egg yolks. Again, you can save those egg whites for the morning or for a little meringue. And you're gonna place them in this bowl. Now, first things first is you're gonna whip these up. You wanna make sure they're starting to almost look like a pale yellow. So you're gonna whisk them and get them all mixed together. One of the things that happens with a lot of people's custard is clumps. And that's because they didn't whisk their eggs ahead of time. And there's one other trick. We have our 1/2 cup of sugar. I've taken about 2 tablespoons out and set it aside because I'm gonna put it in the cream and I'll explain that later. So this is a 1/2 cup of sugar with 2 tablespoons removed. You are gonna whisk as you pour in the sugar. If you let sugar and eggs sit for any period of time, they get these big clumps that are impossible to get out. So you're gonna slowly pour your sugar into your eggs while you whisk. That's one of the biggest tricks to having a really good custard that's smooth and not clumpy. So you're slowly gonna add this. And then you're gonna also get ready for your corn flour or cornstarch. They're the same thing, to add that. Great, that's nice and smooth with no clumps. So now I have my 2 teaspoons of corn flour or cornstarch. This is what's gonna really thicken up the custard and make it foolproof. If you prefer not to use your corn flour or cornstarch, it'll still work. You just have to pay a little bit more of attention. And this is what makes it totally foolproof, and it will turn out perfectly, literally anytime. Again, you wanna make sure that you're whisking as you add your corn flour so that there are no lumps created. And whisk that really well together. Awesome. So you wanna put the cheese, so for your zucchini boats, once they're filled, you're gonna put the cheese on top, sprinkle away. Okay, so here's our vanilla sauce. We have in here our egg and 2 egg yolks, our sugar, and our corn flour. Next step, we are gonna take this over to the stovetop with our cream and our 2 tablespoons of sugar. So here I am at the stovetop. I have in here 2 cups of cream, heavy cream, and I have in there 2 tablespoons of sugar. Why do you put in the 2 tablespoons of sugar? If you've ever heated up hot milk, you'll know that it like creates this little film on top. The sugar stops that from happening. It's like magic. So the little sprinkle of sugar means you don't get that film on top. This is on high heat. Another trick to custards is you don't want to heat up the cream slowly, you want to scald it. So you put it on the absolute highest heat to scald the cream so it's a little bit hot. And then we have another trick. This custard, the whole key to custards is tricks. It's what makes it come out perfectly every time and smooth and absolutely delicious. So we have this heated, it'll be scalding really quick. You can touch it with your finger. It's a little bit scalded, it's not quite there yet. But it's on high heat. So we're gonna pour a tiny bit of this scalded cream into your egg and sugar mixture. And what that does is it loosens it up. If you add a solid to a liquid, it's almost impossible for it to mix together. It's why when you're making a sauce, you make something called a roux, which is butter and flour together instead of just adding flour to thicken your sauce, because that's when you get clumps. So if you add a little bit of cream, it loosens up this egg and sugar mixture, and it makes it a lot smoother and reduces your risk of having any types of clumps. So you can see the cream is starting to boil. I'm gonna pour a little bit of it into here, but you have to whisk as you go so that you don't accidentally cook the eggs. Turn down your custard heat a little bit to a nice medium. And you can see how much looser that is since I added the cream. It's now basically the same consistency as the cream. And again, you are gonna whisk as you add this. This means that the eggs won't cook. So you wanna whisk.
Hi, Liberty, we have a request for you to slow down just a pinch if you can.
Yes, of course. Sorry guys, I'm used to more of a cooking show cadence rather than this live demo. So I'll go over that one more time to tell you what I did. 2 cups of cream with 2 tablespoons of sugar. On the side here, I have my egg and 2 egg yolks. I've added the ½ cup of sugar minus the 2 tablespoons and my 2 teaspoons of cornstarch. And that's been mixed together. I add a little bit of the scalded cream and then I add it back into this heavy cream. And then you just whisk as you go. Again, you can go tons slower here. I have the lovely situation of having 2 sous chefs to help me and fill my zucchini boats while I make the vanilla custard. But also you should feel very comfortable that the whole recipe, everything is online so that you can follow along with that. So as you can see, I'm whisking constantly. You really can't leave a custard. You can't like be like, oh, I'm gonna go do something else and just let it sit there. That's when it's gonna start to clump and you'll see that the eggs actually start to cook. So how do you know that a custard is done? Lauren, could I have a spoon? Yes. How do you know that your custard is done? Okay, here's our trick. You stick your spoon in, you can see that there's a little bit on the back. And if when you run your finger by it, it doesn't, from like this, it doesn't fall into the inside, then you know it's done. So you do it like that and it shouldn't run into the inside. It's not quite done, it'll almost be there. So we're gonna let it cook for a tiny bit longer. The other thing is that it's gonna 100% thicken almost by 75% once it cools down. So what it looks like here, it's gonna be about 75% thicker once it cools. So you don't want it to be the full custard consistency while it's hot, because then you're gonna end up with sludge. So you want it to be thicker than the heavy cream, but not much thicker. I'd say maybe about 20% thicker than the heavy cream itself. Sorry, did I hear someone say they have a question? Nope, no question. So I'll check it again here, there. Now you start to see how it's only dripping a little bit from there. It's not dripping at all from there. It's almost done. So we're gonna keep whisking it a little bit longer. Learning on a new stove. We're at Lauren's house, quarantining, so I have not quite learned her kitchen perfectly. Yes, I know, we're roommates again. We're roommates again. Yvonne, Lauren, and I are currently roommates in the time of COVID. All roommates again. Okay.
Hi, Liberty, there's another question on if you have reduced the heat or are still on high.
I have reduced the heat to medium. So high when you're scalding the cream, and then you reduce it to medium while you're making the custard. I would err on the side of caution and let it heat up slower than faster if you're a little bit nervous about this. So I can tell this is just about the right consistency. Can you guys see that as I pour it out? I don't know, maybe you guys can see that. You can see it's a little bit thicker than the heavy cream, but not much. And you can also see when I do that, it stays on almost perfectly. It barely tips off. Okay, that means your custard is done. So we are gonna come back. Oh, Sivan, we need you for the light. We're gonna come back here. You have two choices. If you have a strainer, a fine mesh strainer like this, amazing. If you don't worry about it. So if you don't have a fine mesh strainer, I'm sorry, you're gonna get a little tired. It's gonna be your exercise for the day. You need to stand here and whisk this until it not till it's cool, but till it's not really hot. It shouldn't be hot. Right now it's really hot to the touch, but you need to whisk it until it's not hot to the touch anymore. And that's what's gonna stop it from getting lumps. If you do have a fine mesh strainer, you are in luck because you do not need to whisk until the cows come home. Thank you very much. Lauren is protecting her kitchen. Yeah. You're gonna whisk it till the cows come home. So here is your sauce. You put it through this fine mesh strainer. You can see that consistency, can't you? It's thicker than the heavy cream, but not much. And you're gonna let it strain, and then you don't have to keep whisking. If you don't have a fine mesh strainer, whisk away until it doesn't hurt when you touch it. And there you go. Now, most people will say that you cannot take, do you mind taking that? Mm-hmm. Thank you. It's great to ask them to do stuff and they actually do it. Trick of the trade. Most people think you have to leave it like this and let it cool before you put it in the fridge. Some people like their custards hot. I prefer it cold. So I would put this in the fridge and I'd let it sit in the fridge while we eat our chicken and our zucchini boats. And I think, Lauren, is it 30 minutes yet? These sous chefs are not actually that helpful, to be clear. They're not being the most helpful. Is it 30 minutes? Okay, it's 1 minute and 20 seconds to 30 minutes. So we're gonna leave this here for a second. We're gonna go to our chicken. I told you the base of the sauce is that wine, right? So we have in there our onions, lemon, and garlic, and we're gonna add a little bit of wine. I have to do this with my teeth. So go over to your chicken and pour about a half a cup in the bottom of the pan. You can't really see it over here, but you're gonna pour about a half a cup in the bottom of the pan. Make sure you don't pour it over the chicken, but you're gonna pour it in the bottom of the pan. If you happen to use a little bit more than half a cup, it's no problem. If you lose less, it's no problem, and it will cook off. So if you don't drink it, it's fine because it completely cooks off. So we're gonna leave our chicken in for 15 more minutes. And that's where that really delicious thick sauce is gonna come from, is that wine turns almost into a syrup. And so you have this oniony, garlicky, lemony syrup sauce. I also see my sous chefs licking the whisks over here, so they're being very helpful. So trick of the trade. Most people think you have to wait to put this in the fridge till it's cool. If you take saran wrap and you put it in the bottom here so that it's actually touching, you're not covering it, you're not removing all the air by covering it really tightly, you're just placing the saran wrap on the top. It stops any film from being produced, and you can stick this right in the fridge. So what I would do is stick this in the fridge with the film on top, and then eat dinner, and then come back once it's cooled down in the fridge and put it with my berries and everything. Okay, so this is where the magic time happens because we're slowly running out of time. This is where the alternate time realities occur. You were supposed to put them in the oven. Oh. Alternate time realities when it comes to cooking shows. It's all, I really hate to tell you guys that it's all fake, but it is. It's like, you actually can't eat the food when you have guests on and they eat the food and they go, oh, that's so delicious. You also have spit buckets at the side because usually the chicken or the meat or whatever you're cooking has been sitting out for like 5 hours while they photograph it and everything. So it's really disgusting. And like a lot of times it's fake. So like, for example, for ice cream, we use mashed potatoes because the ice cream would melt. So you're like digging into some delicious ice cream and it's actually mashed potatoes, and you say how delicious it is, it tastes disgusting. And usually they're powdered mashed potatoes because those tend to actually look the best. So anyway, so here's where the magic happens. Lauren, do you want to grab the berries out of the fridge? This is what it's going to look like at the end. We have our chicken that's magically cooked and deliciously brown. You can actually hear the crunch on this skin in its sauce. And you have these finished zucchini boats where the cheese is all melted on top and gotten all delicious and gooey. And then you have your desserts that we created earlier. Can you see these? So here's your, you can either make it fancy, which I did. So you put the vanilla sauce in the middle and you make some little fancy doo-woppy around the side. And I made some cute little chocolate pieces. You just melt the chocolate and stick it in. Or you can do what Lauren did, which is plop all the berries on top. And I don't know, you know what, I'm gonna come over to this stove top to see if you can see this. Can someone tell me if you can actually see this from here? It's Lauren made out of chocolate.
We can see it.
And she made a little beaver to go with it. So all you do is melt chocolate over the stovetop, put it into a Ziploc bag, cut off the little end of the Ziploc bag, drizzle it on some wax paper and stick it in the freezer. Oh, well, there goes Sivan. She's eating the dessert. I know, they keep going. Sivan keeps going into the fridge and trying to steal the chocolate and the little M that we made for MIT. And the beaver, did you just eat the beaver?
Yeah.
Jesus. Okay, so this is it. This is your meal. The entire recipe is online. I hope this made sense. I'm sorry if we went a little bit too speedy, but the whole recipe is online for you. I didn't want to take up too much of your time. And thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you to my sous chefs. And we are going back to Leona. Thank you.
All right, guys. I hope you guys had as much fun as I did. I only had the fire alarm go off once. But Liberty, thank you so much for your time and your expertise. I think everyone learned a lot tonight and had a ton of fun. Thank you to everyone for tuning in and for your questions. We hope you really enjoyed this event. Please take a few moments to give us your thoughts at the survey link that will be emailed to you in a few minutes. The MIT 10 committee is continuously looking for new ideas for virtual events and all sorts of things that we can do during COVID. So we'd love to hear from you on what you want to see next. Look out for ways to get in touch with us in that survey email. Hopefully everybody stays safe, enjoys their meal, and hopefully we see you guys next time. Thank you so much.
Thanks for joining us. And for more information on how to connect with the MIT Alumni Association, please visit our website.